Dad was an airline pilot, but when he came home, he considered that's when his real job started because he loved to work with his hands. He bought a farm, small hobby farm in Nokesville, Virginia. You know, I think of Dad in many different roles. I think him as a spiritual leader. Prayer in our family was a daily occurrence. I think of him as a father who taught us so much by the way he worked. He had a strong work ethic and he grew up on a farm. And he wanted us to appreciate country life with all its different chores, all the different hobbies that you would have on the farm. My brother Joseph, who has Down syndrome, he probably spent the most time of anybody with my dad because in his retirement, he was daily with Joseph. You saw him everywhere he was, Joseph was. We saw a side of Dad that was just a very devoted father to a son who had special needs. This colleague had actually gotten word before me and came to notify me that something tragic had happened with my dad and Joseph on the farm and that you needed to go to the hospital right away. We found out that what had happened is Joseph was vacuuming the pool. We have an above the ground pool, and he was vacuuming the pool. And after he had vacuumed the pool, he was walking from the pool through the yard, and there's a septic tank not far from the pool. There are two tops to the septic tank. One was covered with a sheet metal that had overgrown with grass, and Joseph, in walking across that, had fallen in.
Help! Help me!
So Mom says that Dad comes out of the house and is chatting with her on the opposite side of the house that the pool is on, and she said, you know, could you go check on Joseph?
Dad! Dad! Daddy! Ah! Dad! Help! Ah! Help!
Joseph! Joseph!
Ah!
Grab hold of my arm.
You do?
Grab hard as you can, Joseph. Hard as you can.
Help!
Hold on, son.
I'm
Hold
still
on.
driving.
Hold on. I'm going to try and pull you out of here, okay?
Please!
Hold on.
It's
Hold on.
Lisa.
We're slipping. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, one more time. One more time. Hold on tight now, son. Hold on tight, okay? You're too heavy, son. I'm gonna come in.
Yeah.
Dad somehow gets into the septic tank with Joseph.
There, okay? Just hang in there.
I think, you know, in that moment as a father, he was probably thinking, what can I do to save my son? This worker heard my dad call for help, and his name is Ned. Ned comes over to the tank.
Oh,
Help!
Joseph, hang on.
I'm still
Come on.
driving.
Go.
Help!
All right, what? Grab it. Grab my hand. Hold on. Go. Hold. Hold. Come on. Come on, bud. Get it.
And when Ned came over, he said, I'll push, you pull.
I'll push. You pull. Okay. Pull. Good.
And right after he said that, Ned said his eyes went shut. He blacked out, and he went under. So then Ned, in a panic, knowing Mom's on the other side of the house, let go of Joseph.
I'll get someone. Hang on.
I'm still driving. Help! And help!
Mom comes around screaming, and she calls 911 and then rushes over to the tank.
Joseph!
I got him. I
Oh,
got him.
Joseph! Oh my God!
Just hold on.
And he said, don't go down, because, you know, she wanted to rescue Joseph.
We got you.
Joseph! Oh!
It's all right. We got you.
It's gonna be okay! Gonna be okay!
Tight as you can.
Joseph is about 190 pounds, and they couldn't pull him out physically. So she runs to the garage, gets a winch, and they are able to hold him there in that position.
I got you.
Joseph! Joseph! I've got a winch!
All right.
Put it around you! Put it around you!
All right, hang on, don't let go.
Wrap it
Don't let
around
go.
you! Tie it around you! That's it! Oh.
during that point, Mom asked Ned where Dad was. And he said that he was underneath. So then the rescue squad showed up. Joseph, thankfully, was saved. He had taken in sewage, but there's no signs of any permanent damage. And they pulled Dad up, and he was already dead. Mom had to see her husband pulled up in that state, and it's likely that the methane gas killed him. You know, we're just so thankful to God that he rewarded Dad's sacrifice with Joseph's life.
In that moment, you realize that something is tragically wrong. You're not alone. When everything safe and familiar is stripped away, you're not alone. In the dark places, the places of pain, of filth, of tragedy, you're not alone. God knows who you are, where you are. God understands your loss and fear. He knows because He's been there too. And He loves you enough to give you someone to hold on to when you need it most. He gives you Himself. Nothing can separate you from the love of God. Not height or depth. Not danger or disaster. Not trouble or tragedy. You are not alone. Your Father is with you, now and forever.
I was having a really difficult time with how the Lord would allow this to happen, especially in the way that He died. You know, a close friend of mine, the connection that he made was how the Lord chose to enter this life full of its imperfections, and he compared it to the muck, and how it was so clear to them that this was an image of the Lord's sacrificial offering of His life, whereas we were so caught up in the loss. The Lord says that there's no greater love than to lay down your life for a friend, and He was His closest friend.